What's going on, family? I'm Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. Curtis Anderson and I will continue to examine 150 of the greatest black fighters within the last 100-year span. Right now, we're taking a look at Johnny Bratton. He was known as the Honey Boy. He was born September 9th, 1927, in Little Rock, Arkansas. He died August 15th, 1993, in Chicago, Illinois. Johnny Bratton stood 5 foot 10 inches. He weighed 132.5 to 157.5 pounds. And he was the holder of the NBA welterweight championship belt. And Johnny Bratton would take on Charlie Fusari. It would be for the vacant NBA welterweight championship belt. Sugar Ray Robinson would have his last title defense, August 9th, 1950, against Charlie Fusari. Charlie Fusari was from Sicily, and then he would reside in Irvington, New Jersey. Charlie Fusari was a very good fighter. I had the pleasure of meeting him, and that was a very good fight. Very well technically sound fight, 15 rounds. But Johnny Bratton would also be in the ring with Lester Felton, another very good fighter. Gene Hairston. Gene Hairston was a creator, if you will, of the red blinking lights that was installed in New York's Madison Square Garden. Because he would hit a man after the bell. You see, Gene Hairston couldn't hear and he couldn't speak. And they were going to disqualify Eugene Hairston because he hit a man after the bell. But after taking a look at the situation, they would realize that something had to be done for fighters such as Eugene Hairston. So the red blinking lights of New York Madison Square Garden would now be created, thanks to Eugene Hairston. 10 seconds would indicate that the round would be over. But Johnny Bratton would also be in the ring with Daniel Bang Bang Wapner, another fantastic fighter he was. He would take on Vic Cardell and Willie Joyce twice. Willie Joyce was a former lightweight and current welterweight contender. Fought out of Chicago, Illinois, and Gary, Indiana. We talked about Willie Joyce and how great of a fighter he was. Johnny Bratton was in the ring with him twice. He was also in the ring with Ralph Zanelli and Cleo Shane. Laurent Thiel. Laurent Thiel would be famous for being knocked out within 13 seconds by a young man that they called Jake LaMotta. Johnny Bratton would also be in the ring with Pierre Langlois, very hard puncher he was. He was one of the hardest punchers in the welterweight division. He was from Argentina. But Johnny Bratton would also be in the ring with Joe Maselli, fought 7 world champions. He was from Brooklyn, New York. Gene Foreman would give him the business. Johnny Bratton would also take on Kid Gavilan of Cuba. Fought him 3 times. Now he'd be defeated by Kid Gavilan because he would suffer a broken jaw. But Johnny Bratton would also take on Ike Williams twice, who at that time was a current NBA lightweight champion. He was from Brunswick, Georgia, and he would reside at Trenton, New Jersey. Be known as the Trenton Thunder. Johnny Bratton would fight 9 rounds with a broken jaw. He would also take on Sammy Angot. Sammy Angot was the NBA lightweight champion at one time. He also took on Bo Jack twice. He was a 2-time lightweight champion of the world. He would also take on Albert Chalky Wright, Joe Brown, Chico Barrera, Del Flanagan, Johnny Saxton twice for the World Welterweight Championship belt. He would take on Bobby Dykes, who was a San Antonio, Texas, former welterweight contender. You see, Johnny Bratton was the goods. Curtis Anderson and myself felt that he must be added to the list of the greatest 150 black fighters of all times. Now, Johnny Saxton was born July 4th, 1930, Newark, New Jersey. He died October 4th, 2008. He was 78 years of age at the time of his death. He stood 5 foot 9 inches and had a 71-inch reach. He was a welterweight. Had a total bout career of 66 fights, 55 wins, 21 knockouts, 9 losses, and he was stopped 5 times with 2 draws. Now let's take a look at the men that he fought. He was in the ring with Kid Gavilan, Tony DeMarco, and Carmen Basilio 3 times. Joey Giardello and Wallace Bud Smith, Virgil Akins, and many, many more. He had his professional debut May 9th, 1949, against Jimmy Swang. Swang had a record of 10 fights, 8 wins, 2 losses. Fought in Philadelphia for his first fight. On February 10th, 1950, he was in the ring with Charlie Salas. Had a record of 76 wins, 23 losses, 11 knockouts. Fought him in New York, Madison Square Garden. April 21st, 1950, he was in the ring with Joe Maselli. September 22nd, 1950, Tony Pallone. March 14th, 1952, Lester Felton. June 4th, 1952, Luther Rawlings. July 30th, 1952, Virgil Akins. 1952, Ralph Tiger Jones with Charlie Williams. What a fighter Johnny Saxton was. 2-time welterweight champion of the world. Archie Moore was known as the Old Mongoose. December 13th, 1916, Benoit, Mississippi. Let's study the names that Archie Moore was in the ring with. He was in the ring with Howard King 6 times, Jack Chase 6 times. Now you know Jack Chase, a member of the Black Murderers Row. After his career, he'd be a chauffeur for Mae West. He was a hell of a fighter. Moore was in the ring with Harold Johnson 5 times. Harold Johnson had a father by the name of Phil Johnson. And ironically, Harold Johnson and Phil Johnson would be knocked out by Jersey Joe Walcott, both in the 3rd round. Archie Moore would also be in the ring with Eddie Charles 3 times, Charlie Burley twice, and Oakland Billy Smith 4 times. Eddie Booker 3 times and Joey Maxim 3 times. Rocky Marciano would be Marciano's last professional fight in 1955. Be in the ring with Jimmy Bivens and Burt Littell, Eddie Cotton and Alabama Kid, Coco Kid and Jack Buddy Walker, Holman Williams and Nino Valdez, Carl Bobo Olsen, Von Durrell twice. Be in the ring with Jimmy Sladd, Big Bob Baker, Joey Maxim, Arthur King, Lloyd Marshall, Londe Pompey. What fighters Archie Moore was in the ring with. Carl Bobo Olsen was a middleweight champion. Became middleweight champion in 1953 when he defeated a young man by the name of Randy Turpin. Defeated Joey Maxim 1952 for the World Light Heavyweight Championship belt. Now, the last fight I want to take a look at that would be placed in this 150 Greatest Black Fighters series is Kid Gavilan. He stood 5 foot 10 inches, weighed 121 to 156 pounds. And Kid Gavilan from Cuba was in the ring with fighters such as Patty Young. He faced Ray Robinson twice, Joe Maselli, and Tony Gennaro. Was in the ring with Casper Ortega, Chico Vijar, and Fitzy Putin. Gavilan was also in the ring with Ralph Tiger Jones, Billy Graham, Bojack, and Ernie Durando. He found himself in the ring with Eduardo Lassie, all hard punches, Ralph Zanelli, and Southpaw Chuck Davey. Gavilan was in the ring with Gil Turner from Philadelphia. Oh, what a fight that was. 1952. My opinion, that was one of the greatest fights that year and of all times. Gavilan was also in the ring with Johnny Bratton. It was with Johnny Bratton that Kid Gavilan would become the brand new NBA welterweight champion of the world. Kid Gavilan was also in the ring with Carmen Basilio, who was a two-time welterweight champion, one-time middleweight champion. He was in the ring with Carl Bobo Olsen and Bobby Dykes. Now, when he faced Bobby Dykes, that would be the first time mixed race would fight in the South in over 60 years. Wouldn't happen till George Dixon would fight in 1892. And George Dixon had defeated his opponent so badly that they would ban mixed race fights in the South. Gavilan was in the ring with Johnny Saxton, Chico Vijar, Casper Ortega, Vince Martinez, Del Flanagan. You tell me. If a resume like that is not worthy of being listed 150 greatest black fighters in 100-year span, if you don't meet that criteria, you're not on the list. Curtis Anderson, Scrapbook Boxing, Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. 100 years and 150 greatest black fighters of all times.